We can see that in chapter 4 is data analysis and discussion. So the content for slide number 2, it's 4.1 and 4.7 is intro and summary related to the chapter 4, whatever contents that you want to have in this chapter 4 lah. Okay, so I reiterate again. 4.2 is regarding technical analysis. Any calculation and any analysis that you want to do using software. For example, Inventor, you're able to do some simple finite element FEA simulation or any calculation that your SV require you to conduct to calculate, then you can put it inside here. Okay, 4.3 is regarding operations and result. So basically, this is after the completions lah. Okay, upon the completion of your machine or your product itself. Then of course 4.4 you need to have the actual cost. Estimated cost is in chapter 3. Estimated cost. Then you are going to compare lah. Okay, estimate and actual. Wow, what are the differences and so on. Then you need to come up with the analysis. Okay, so ergonomic analysis also later we will have a look lah. That one is optional. It's not compulsory. Okay, so introduction will be like this. Whatever content that you want to write in the chapter 4 itself. So this is the example of it. Okay, so you need to come up with your own sentences, construct your own based on whatever content that you might have. Okay, technical analysis. So what is technical analysis? The analysis that is done accordingly to the requirement of the product itself. So for example, as I mentioned to you, if you have any pre-testing, okay, any pre-testing, please put in here. Pre-testing, any group, your SV require you to have some pre-testing before the fabrication process. Ada ke?
Ada makna.
Ada kira-kira ke? Ada calculation? Any group? No? Okay. So kalau ada tu contohnya SVU nak tahu total weight kan. You can actually go to the inventor iProperty itu, then you can extract the data from there lah. So if you have bending and sharing, design of the dynamic shaft to analyze the shaft, kalau ada. And if you have a simple questionnaire from the current user regarding the current condition now, current problem, you also can insert inside here. So I don't know whether your SV asks you to do this one or not lah. Okay, but this one is actually under marketing analysis also. So you should consider this one lah. So this is all the pre-testing. So after in project 2, once upon the completion of your machine or your product, then you are going to conduct a post-testing, correct? Okay, to test the effectiveness of your machine, of your product. So right after that, you need to actually put in the data over here. Post-testing data here, put it inside here. So of course, when you do your post-testing, okay, you are encouraged to take a lot of photos with it. Okay, then if you are able to illustrate the data in a table form or a graph form, it will be better lah, compared to all the figures, right? Okay, so this will be the example. Example, you will see you have a calculation there. Maybe you can do it manually first before you key in into the appropriate format lah. So this one is on design, okay, calculation of the design. Okay, so 4.3, as I mentioned to you earlier, once your machine, okay, your products has complete the fabrications process and the assembly, of course. So put it inside here. Okay, isometric, okay, front view, top view, and so on lah. Ensure that you are able to capture your product in a really nice view lah to show to the user. Okay, so show how your products are able to operate, the operations of your product. You can put it inside here. Right after that, for your post-testing, if you have distribute to current user a simple questionnaire regarding your machine. Okay, you ask for their feedback, then you can put it also inside here as your result. Okay, then if you're able to remember in your chapter 3, we have estimated cost, right? Estimated cost. So estimated cost is in chapter 3. Chapter 4, you need to come up with your actual cost. So cost sebenar itu actually-nya berapa? And of course, the subject of interest will be the total cost lah. So if you have make some adjustment, you have make some saving there, then you need to justify lah, of course, during the discussion. Okay, cost analysis. So you need to come out with a product cost, then you have a labor cost, marketing cost, and how much you intend to sell your product towards the end. Okay, so economic analysis is related to the problem statement or your objective. Okay, so if your SB asks you to calculate the risk factor, involving your product, then you should conduct this economic assessment. So if no, then it's not relevant to you lah. Kalau tidak ada keperluan, then tak perlulah. But this one is normally conducted using the questionnaire lah. Okay. So that will be on chapter 4. So we continue to chapter 5. Chapter 5. Right after chapter 4, the last chapter in your final report will be the chapter 5. So chapter 5 is about the conclusion and recommendation title. So it's quite straightforward. 5.1 is the introduction contents in this chapter 5. 5.2 is a conclusion. So what do you write for in conclusion actually? Conclusion, you need to answer back. Okay, you need to answer back the objective of your project. Since you have 3, normally you have 3, right? The fabrication process. Second one is to test whatever that you intend to have post-test. Third one is also to do the testing, post-testing normally. So have you achieved all these objectives? So you need to answer that. Okay, conclusion. Then, if possible, reiterate the significant result. Okay, ulang balik result yang chapter 4 itu in a very concise form. Concise maksudnya precise lah, dia tepat anda nyatakan. Then the last part of chapter 5 is to answer, to provide some recommendation. Since you already finished the fabrication process, the assembly process, finishing and so on, so you might have some recommendation that you would like to give for future innovators so that they're able to have version 2 of your product, version 3 and so on, continuous improvement. That will be very helpful for the future innovators or your junior student later. If they would like to have a very similar titles to you, somehow they would like to enhance some features. So looking at your recommendation, it should help them from your experience wise. Okay, so do you think you have any answer, please? So question, please. Okay, then we continue on this. So your presentation slide, the one template I provide to you earlier, right, in the group will consist of approximately 21 pages lah. So we look at the content here. So you need to have titles, of course, okay. Then of course you will have your supervisor names, okay, sessions, programs, and so on. Okay, the next slide that you should talk about is the general content. We look at it, will be the general content. So I would like you to answer using this particular form. Here, you fill in what, when. You just fill in using point form. Okay, then of course, if what, right, if you are discussing your thing, if you want to put in some figures, you can do like that. Okay, you can opt for figures. It's not necessary must be in sentences. So when you do, you present, right, you don't put in a lot of sentences, long sentences. Everything should be in a point form lah. Okay, you are encouraged to present in a point form and then provide figures. Based on that figures, try to explain. That will be the appropriate or effective presentation, what we call. Okay, then you should have your problem statement. Right after that problem statement. Once you elaborate your problem in a very detailed form, the last sentence should end with this. Okay, hence this project is about a fabrications of whatever. So I already taught you regarding the last sentence, right? Should have the 5 elements there. So just copy that sentence and put it in the last part of this problem statement. Okay. Next, after the problem statement will be the general objective, will be the objective. Then you will have your scope and limitation. Scope and limitation. So remember to put in the author for it. Who is the author for each and every scope and limitation? So this one will be based on the pre-design, control, and post-testing. Okay, then category is of course a fabrication. You can just write down it's a fabrications. Okay, significance or the contribution, the impact of the contributions of your project, put in point form also. Okay, so this one, page 1, 2 to 7 will be from your chapter 1. Will be from your chapter 1. So any questions from there? Okay, we go to chapter 2. So chapter 2, you will see that at the first thing that you need to present will be the layout. So since we already segregate this one by the scope itself, right? Pre-testing, you have one author. Okay, design, you have another author. Control, you have another author. Or post-testing, you have another author, right? So you need to present that layout first. Okay, the layout of your presentation. Then you will go to a literature review. Okay, for example, this is for design author. So as I mentioned to you earlier, you should put in figures. So for design, actually, they would like to find out whatever design which is available in the market. They compare the advantage and disadvantage. So this is how you should present your literature review. So I expect here you have additional 4 slides. Because each and every author, at least you come up with a slide. Okay, based on pre-testing. Okay, pre-testing, you actually investigate about a very traditional methods or the history or regarding your project. Okay, design is the one, this one. Okay, the control system will be to have a lot of, for example, you use compressor. So maybe there are 3 type of compressor that you compare, and then what are the specs and so on. Then finally, which one is your selection for your final design? You need to able to justify that. And then of course, post-testing, you have another slide, maybe modern method. How many modern methods that are available now? And then what are their advantage and disadvantage? So you can list it down in a table form. Okay, that will be the appropriate way. It's not you lump in everything. History, okay, you read. No, that's not the way of presentation. Okay. So for chapter 2, any question? Okay, I will continue on chapter 3. Chapter 3 presentation. So this is quite straightforward. You need one speaker for project 1, project 1 flowchart, one speaker for project 2 flowchart, as in a general form, as a whole. So Gantt chart, project 1 also the same. So Gantt chart, please remember that you need to have 14 weeks. 14 weeks, and then week number 13 will be your presentation, which is on the 25th of November, okay, for this semester. And then for project 2, actually, you need to have the one plan activities. Okay, plan, actual, leave it blank, because only when you already conduct, okay, the activities in project 2, then only you have that actual one. So after that, please put in some milestone. Milestone is more specific compared to Gantt chart. Milestone, whatever months, okay, then what you are supposed to be completed and so on. Okay, so put in the milestone so that you have a deadline. Once you finish your work earlier than that deadline, due date, it's good lah. Okay. So right after that, you can see you have pre-testing step. Okay, all the step, how you are going to conduct your pre-testing. You need to put it inside here. For design author, you need to put in your fabrication step from zero. So normally it's going to start with purchasing. You can start with purchasing whatever things, materials and so on. Second one will be to cut that particular material to whatever dimension, okay, and so on. Okay, assembly step will be right after the completions of the main body itself, okay, or the frame itself. Then you are going to come out with how you are going to assemble all the essential part of your machine to the machine itself. And last and for all, of course, you have the post-testing is to test the effectiveness of your, to achieve objective number 2 and 3, actually this one. So you need to come out with how you are going to conduct that particular post-testing in project 2 later. So all of this one fabrication step, assembly and post-testing is actually, you will do it in your project 2. Pre-testing step, you might start it in your project 1 already. So put it in past tense, put it in past tense and also in passive form. Okay. So questionnaire interview. So remember that for the current templates, they will require you to come up with needs analysis. Okay, needs analysis. That's why you need to distribute a very simple questionnaire to current user to actually obtain their feedback on current problems that they have. Okay, and then you need to give some potential target. So this one can be done by using a questionnaire from your literature review, or you conduct a very simple interview. So of course you need to provide some proof and so on. So take some photos, take some pictures during the interview sessions, or record some videos, short videos. So total cost after that, total cost, you need to come up with a total cost. And of course, this is what we call the estimated cost. So the first part is the material part and costing, no problem about that. Then you need to have this fabrication cost, or what you call a labor cost. Labor cost, and last and for all, you would like to commercial your product, how much you want to sell that. Okay, then final design. So you will have your inventor IDW here, final design. So your final design, you need to justify your design. Panel will always emphasize on why you select this design, why your design is not like this, why your design is not like that. So how you are able to justify it is, of course, from the decision matrix or morphology chart. So some of them, they construct the methodology, morphology charts, okay, with all the appearance, safety, and so on. Then they take that one into a consideration. Or another method is, because you have done your literature review, that from the design which is available in the market, so you might able to do some justifications over there. So that should be the overall content. Overall content that you should have in your presentation slide. Of course, this is the suggested one, minimum. Then your SP might think that this is not adequate, then want to add on. So it's based on the SP itself.